It's Moms vs. Aunts, your weekly happy hour where we chop it up about trends, gossip, solo mom life, and how to level up in this crazy world. Vanessa, I can't even tell you what a good mood I am in this week because we had a friend who went out of town, went to Hawaii, and he lives in Manhattan Beach, which if you're not in LA, that's like, West Side, where, I live on the East Side. A lot of people live on the East Side. That's away from the beach. And we stayed at his place. And let me tell you, first of all, I didn't realize Manhattan Beach was such a celebrity hub.
Really?
Went to dinner, and in just that moment, Glennon Doyle, Mina Suvari and her husband and her baby. Supposedly Kendrick Lamar lives there. Zac Efron. So, I got up super early in the morning. First of all, getting up at the beach in the morning, going outside, even though it's weird because unlike East Coast, where East Coast you smell that ocean, that saltwater air, the Pacific Ocean doesn't do that. And I don't know why. I can't figure it out. Investigating, but just like that beach air in the morning is so nice and really set me up. And I was mostly just outside to see if, Zach was going to go surfing and any of that. I'm being nosy. I put on my workout because everyone out there is working out in the mornings. I put on my workout outfit like I was doing that, and I was just being nosy. But anyways, all that to say is I need to spend some more time at the beach because I feel like I'm in such a better mood this week just by waking up by the ocean.
I mean, isn't that why you live there? So you can live by the beach and take showers outside and do whatever the hell people in California do? Yeah.
For sure. And, one day, hopefully I will be, have that amazing all glass house overlooking the ocean. And that's manifesting that. So just saying.
Manifesting. Yes.
I'm also in a really good mood. We're going to get into a lot of stuff today. Obviously, we have your cocktail that you're going to tell us about so we can sip on that during the show. We are going to have our hustle so we can figure out how to make enough money to afford that all glass house on the ocean. And of course, we'll have our cool down at the end of the show. But I'm also really excited because I have discovered a new reality show. And, it's like, there's lots of reality shows that come out, but there's very few that I get really excited about. And especially, I don't watch a lot of the dating shows. I'm not a huge Bachelor, Bachelorette fan. I don't typically watch those shows, but this is a dating show and it's on HBO, which I think makes a difference because there's no editing, right? They can curse, they can talk about stuff. It's a lot more free. And it has an interesting spin. So we're going to get into that. But first, we need our cocktail. So what are we drinking?
Oh my God, I'm all so excited about all this stuff. You have to tell me everything. I never know what the hell's going on in the world of reality, but I'm on that HBO Max girl because right now I'm obsessed with White Lotus. So, but we can talk about that not on the podcast. That shit is crazy. And okay, so I was thinking our friends used to own this really great Mexican restaurant and we used to go there all the time. And one of my favorite drinks was the Paloma and I totally forgot about it. And so I was doing a job the other day and I had a bunch of leftover, really good, fresh, ruby red grapefruit juice. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Because I like grapefruit juice, but I don't like to drink a glass of grapefruit juice. But so I was like, really? I like my favorite thing to drink a glass of juice. First of all, you already know me. I only drink water, coffee, and alcoholic beverages. I don't waste calories on just a tall glass of juice. Although tangerine juice is my favorite if I just was drinking a glass of it. So anyhow, I had this leftover grapefruit juice, and so I was like, a Paloma. And for those of you that don't know, it is delicious. It's definitely the adjacent cousin to a margarita. I love it.
I feel like we were on the same wavelength because when I was in Manhattan Beach, we were at the restaurant and they had this amazing looking Paloma on the menu. And I was like, I used to love Palomas. Why did I stop drinking it? I got one. It was delicious. So we were clearly in the same headspace.
Girl, Oh, stop. I can't. See? Oh, that makes me feel like we were together, even though we weren't together. Yeah, though I was thinking about you because it's so right up your alley. And you know I don't drink tequila like that, but I've been easing my way back into tequila. So Paloma is very, very easy. You will make this. It is equal parts tequila, white tequila, blanco, grapefruit juice, like I said, freshly squeezed is best, and like seltzer or club soda. So you want 2 ounces each of those 3. 2 ounces of tequila, 2 ounces of grapefruit juice, 2 ounces of seltzer. And then you want 1 ounce of lime juice, freshly squeezed. So just a little bit of lime juice. It's obviously mostly grapefruit. And then up to you, if you want to have it a little sweeter, you can add about 1/4 of an ounce to 1/2 an ounce, depending on what you like, of agave nectar. It's like a really great sweetener. And a salt rim. So what you're going to do is you're going to, take the top of the glass and like rub a little bit of the fresh grapefruit around the rim and then dip that into coarse salt. Fill the glass with the 4 ingredients, 5 if you're using agave, and then top it off with ice. That's it. You can use like a little grapefruit wedge as a garnish. Definitely sip it with a straw, but it goes down real, real easy. And that's it. And it's pretty too. That's the other thing, especially if you use the ruby red grapefruit. It's like that really pretty pink color. So it's also just like a pretty drink.
Well, that's why, that's why I love Palomas. And that's why I also used to love Greyhounds. But that was when I drank vodka.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm more tequila, obviously Paloma is more up my alley. But yeah, I'm into it. I think that I'm going to definitely invest in those things for this. I know the summer's almost over where you are. I, however, do get a couple more months on here. So
no, I'm for like the rest of the episodes that we have, like literally until like October, it's going to be summery things because I just have to hold on as long as possible. I'm not hitting y'all with like Manhattans and old fashions and all that shit until we are full on into fall. I gotta hang on. I'm having the best summer and I love it and I want to hang on to every single second of it. So
yeah. And I know that your summer is, I know that you're at your parents' house now because you're picking up your kids. So like that part of your summer is like a little bit over because now you got to bring them back to New York.
I know.
So they could go to school.
Know. I pulled the okie doke on my parents though. So like I came down on Sunday to come and pick up my kids. And, but then like the day after tomorrow, I'm leaving from here to go to Miami for 4 days.
I'll see.
And then flying back here, and then I'm taking them home. It was like I just had to like squeeze. I felt like if they saw me and like they were like, oh, okay, she's cool, she's here, and the kids were like, whatever. And then so my mom's like, wait, what? You're leaving again? I was like, BRB, just going to Miami for like, she's like, what? Huh? And so I'm like, again, trying to squeeze every last second of this.
Clearly you are. Well, enjoy Miami. I'm sure it will be amazing because again, waking up by the beach has completely changed my mood for this entire week. And I love starting the week off in a really great spot. But we got our drinks. And so I have to tell you now about this show that I pretty much have been binge watching. Another great thing about HBO is like they'll release like 3 episodes at once. Like it won't just be like, just like sometimes for really like well-known shows, of course they parse it out, week by week. But I think when it's a newer show, they give us like 3 episodes at once. So I've been able to really binge watch it. But it's called FBoy Island. They don't put in the full F word, obviously, because I don't think that could market really well. FBoy Island, as in, fuckboy. FBoy Island. And it's essentially you have 3 women who are acting as but they're the bachelorettes. And they are there, because, they've been screwed around in the past and they want to find a good man. And essentially there's like 24 guys that it starts out with. 12 of them are nice guys and 12 of them are F-boys. And we don't know, even the audience doesn't know who's who. And, nobody knows. The host is Nikki Glazer. Nikki Glazer is getting a lot of work these days, the comedian. So that's really awesome. But she's the host. And essentially, there's different challenges, and they obviously can go on individual dates, and they're just trying to connect with the guys and determine, whether they're an F-boy or not. And at the end of each show, they have to pick, each of the women have to pick 2 guys. So there's 6 guys that get picked that they aren't connecting with, and then they have to choose which of the guys is going to go home that night. But the reality is they don't really go home. They go to another place, depending on whether they're a nice guy or
another
they're an F-boy.
Smaller island.
Yeah, another smaller island. And that smaller island is either really nice if they're a nice guy, or if they're an F-boy, they're pretty much sleeping on the beach. So we haven't gotten to the part of what happens to them after that island. We just know that they get banished there afterwards.
How does the show describe an F-boy? I mean, I know what I think an F-boy is, but what do they describe as an F-boy?
I mean, they kind of let them self-describe themselves. Like, I don't think that the show itself, but it's like, here's the problem is that, I see all 24 of these guys, and the whole time I'm like, they're all F-boys.
they're all
F-boys. But, there's ones that are very, like, it seems like very obvious that they're nice guys. So I'm like, that, that doesn't, read as well. But what's also interesting is just like, you could tell the girls are attracted to the F-boys, because even as in the moment where they're like, oh, but he could be a nice guy. I'm like, girl, nobody thinks that guy is the nice guy. Right, we all can tell.
Right. No. Yes.
But it's I like it. I like the format. I always think it's interesting though, because again, it's 3 women and they're all vying for these 24 guys. But at some point, you start staking claims on which guys are yours, right? Because obviously the guys want to stay around, but they want to connect with a girl that's going to like them the most. And then the girls, because like it's kind of weird when the girls at the end are like, 2 of the guys you're not connecting with. There was one episode where the girl picked up one of the guys that we all knew was kind of in this other girl's circle. And she's like, you're not sending him, it's kind of interesting in that way. But
okay.
Because technically you're all, they're all there for that. But, it was interesting. So they had this one challenge where it was essentially like the opposite of a dunk tank. The guys were sitting on a bench and the women were holding like a bucket, like a string to a bucket. And they would ask the guy a question. And if they didn't like the answer to the question, the girl would pull the string and they would get doused in like cold water. And so like one of the questions that she asked, we don't know if he's an F-boy or a nice boy at this time, was like, if I had a high number, as a high sexual number, like, would that be a problem or something like that? And he gave a really good answer. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but he was just like, he was just like, everyone has a past, and what happened in your past, shouldn't affect your future. And then he should have ended there. But then he's like, but as long as that number's not too high. And then she was like, dunk. Because it's like, you were fine. Like, yes, we all have a past. But like just the fact that he still had to throw that in, I thought was really weird, because it was like, why does it matter? Why does that matter?
Why? Oh my God, that's so funny. I was talking to a friend, and she met a guy. So she is in her early 30s, and she met a guy who's 22, and at the bar by her house. And I mean, she showed me a picture of him, and I was like, this guy is, when I say smoking hot, I was like, holy shit. Because at first I was like, that's a little young. But she was like, look. So I'm looking, and it's so funny. She's showing me his Insta page, and there's a photograph of him and his family. And girl, I was like, the brother was hot. The dad was hot. Like, it was the first time I've ever seen where you're like, the dad, everybody could get it, really. Everybody could get it. But anyways, so she's dating this guy. And he's young, and it's like clearly not serious. She's just having fun. But one day he asked her what her number was. And she was like, what? Like, who? Because who even asks that question? That is such a weird question. To me, that is bizarre, that people still do that people still care about that. I know
and they're
a lot
not
of people,
even dating. They're just hooking up.
No, they're just hooking up. Like, why do you need to know that? She did not answer, and like definitely was like, had to school the young lad about like, you don't ask people that. That's rude.
And what did he say?
I think he's young. I think he was just kind of like, oh, like whatever. And so finally I told her, I was like, listen, anybody asks you that question, the number is always 7. It's just 7. I don't care if it's what it is. It's just 7, bitch. It's 7. Okay. If you are in your 30s or 40s, just always say 7. It's just 7. And she was like, okay. Like, and then move on. Like,
it reminds me of like my one of my favorite scenes from Roseanne, like the original Roseanne from the 90s, is when Aunt Jackie, who everyone wanted to be Aunt Jackie. I feel like I am Aunt Jackie. She was dating her husband, who became her. What was his name? Ed? What was his name? I can't remember now. But the one she ended up having the baby with. But one day, he asked her like, "Well, what is your number?" And she's just like, "My number is not that high. Like what? Like I've dated like 3 guys a year for like the last 20 years. Oh my God!" It's and it's just like immediately you get to 60, but it's like, okay, if you have 3 boyfriends a year, it doesn't feel that way in the moment, right? But I just love that scene because he was just like, his number was like 2.
Also, like, I feel like when you're in your 20s, you have such a good grasp of that number. You remember it, you know it. The number starts to get farther and farther away from you as you get older. Like, you just reach a point where like you're not like thinking about it. You're not like you're not like a kid with a journal where you're like, I kissed this boy and then did it, and you have like you have it all listed out or whatever. Like, you're a full grown adult I don't know. Let me just say, gun to my head, $1 million on the line. Ooh, I don't know.
There was, you said he's 23, so I think that puts him in like the Gen Z. And like, I was reading an article, or I was skimming through a Twitter that had an article attached, and the basis of the article was essentially how Gen Z, like, they're just like not down with casual sex the way especially the way Gen Xers are, right? And so, I just think that obviously played a huge part in it. Because like, I don't know, like they will have like sex, but not in the way of just like this meaningless, like casual, like, I think one night stands is just like not in the stars for them.
Let me find out. Gen X are the hoes of all the generations. Like, that's just rude.
We're the hoes, but I will say I believe we're the safest sex generation, because we had to grow up in a generation where that was like, in our head. Whereas what I understand is, while they're not having as much casual sex, they don't like condoms as much. Like, that's what I hear. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I hear.
Well, I'll tell you. So, when I very first had sex, I'm really close with my mom, and I think I was like maybe 17 or 18, and I sat down with her, and I was like, Mom, I had sex, and her face, first of all, I mean, I had never seen that face. I don't know that I still to this day have ever seen her make that face. It was just kind of like, it was very like, when you just like, someone just caught you like the wind got knocked out. She breathed in really like, okay, this is what we're getting ready to do. She like braced herself. And I was just looking at her, and I didn't say anything else. I was like, so I want you to know, like, I had sex. And she was so taken off guard. But I tell you that the conversation that I had with her was so great, because she came off the cuff and she was super real, as opposed to if she had like planned this conversation that she was going to have with me, if she was ever going to have this talk with me, it would have been a completely different conversation. And she literally said, thanks for telling me. And she tells me that, she was really young when she got with my dad, that my dad is the first and only person she's ever been with. And that she doesn't think that that's necessarily like great for a young woman, like that you should, like go out and like learn and like explore. And, you know, we talk about it. We talk about it. And then she ends with like, but I trust you and I know that you'll always be safe and you'll always take care of yourself and put yourself first. And so like, you know, and what I heard was I can go do whatever I want as long as I'm safe. That is what I interpreted, that I could do whatever I want as long as I am safe. And those were my marching orders. And from then on, I was safety girl. I was like, I had all different kinds of like condoms and like anything in like the aisle of like protective sex. I had all of those things in my nightstand, but I also live my life. And so, you know, that was the advice I got. I don't know if that's how she meant for me to interpret it, but I mean, I'm very, very safe and also live my life. So
I love that.
How
I mean,
that goes.
I think that was that's the best story I've ever heard. I mean, most people, the fact that you even had a relationship, I don't know many people who had a close enough a relationship to even do that. So that's amazing. Applaud your mom.
I mean, I don't know that she would have like given me that advice if she would like really thought through like what she was going to say, but she was so caught off guard. She kept it so real. And I love her for that. And yeah, I mean, you know, I've always had a really healthy sex life. So there's that.
Well, that's good. And at least I know, you know, you'll pass that same sort of like ideology on to your sons because, you know, hey, nobody wants to be a young grandma. I want you to be grandma-less as long as possible.
Oh my God, I can't. And now I think I just had the same feeling she had at the thought of it. Oh God.
You're gonna make that same face. You haven't seen that face since then, but it will be on your face the day one of your sons is like, I had sex today.
or worse, they go talk to their dad about it.
Oh no, don't let that happen. Yeah, I just think, a lot. I mean, I think a lot of this is coming though. I mean, she's dating the younger guy. And I think a lot of these things that we think are in our past will re-enter our lives if we date younger men, because this is like what they do. But like, no, it's like, no, you're dealing with a woman over the age of 35. I'm going to need you to act appropriately.
But also, like, it only seems like, you know, depending on what the number is, I feel like it's the shame stuff is only assigned to women if the number is perceived to be like too high. Like a guy could be like whatever, and I don't think that they get quite as much shit as like women do, which is why, like, ladies, you heard it here. Anybody asks you, it's 7. Just 7.
Yeah, I guess so. But I also feel like I hear so much about, you know, sex positive, people being sex positive these days. And, you know, the idea of slut shaming is just like abhorrent. Like, we are now apologizing to, you know, the teen mom Farrah Abrams of the world and the, you know, the Courtney Stoddens of the world and the, you know, Lindsay Lohans of the world that, you know, we treated on blogs. And I say we as a collective, you know, and we're going back because we know that, you know, and so in a way, yes, but I think slut shaming, it's so archaic to this new generation of kids that they would never.
Well, that makes me happy then. Like, okay, all right. So they're all just catching up to what we already knew.
but then also, but why are you asking my number? Like, but like,
I would never ask anybody that. And I also kind of like don't care. Like, I don't know. Do you care?
I have long been of the philosophy, don't ask questions you don't want the answers to.
Right?
Like, if I'm asking the question, I'm probably have already deduced something in my head and I'm only asking for confirmation. If I don't want that confirmation, let me just not ask.
And like, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes you want someone to have like at this stage, like you kind of want someone who's got a little bit of experience. Like you don't want someone that you feel like, you know, I don't know. It's just, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but it's just like, yeah, you don't want someone who feels like super inexperienced. I mean, that's also weird. Like it goes both ways.
For
at
sure.
this stage.
Yeah, for sure. And, again, like, I think if I was younger and I was with another younger person and we were both learning together, that's one thing. But at this stage, I'm like, ain't nobody got time for that. Like, we have a set day, a set time. I have a schedule. Let's get to it. Okay. Got it.
Oh, God, I can't.
Vanessa, our money guru. I want to hear how we're making money, how we're saving money, how we're investing money. Like, what are we doing with money this week? What exactly?
Okay, so this week I got caught up on a number of websites that were posting the weirdest ways that people make money. And I just thought that this would be so much fun. So I looked at several different websites and I pulled what I thought were like the most interesting. So these are my top 6 that I thought were the most interesting / weird. And I feel like you'll be entertained. I'm not saying go do these things, but I'm saying, I didn't know this was a way you could make money.
I love weird things, so I'm excited.
I know you love weird things, so please feel free to weigh in as you do. And I only did top 6 because there were literally lists that were like 50 or 8 or whatever. I pulled what I thought were the 6 most interesting-ish ones. All right. So, and these are in no particular order. The first one is a meme factory. So I thought this was easy because you always have like super cute memes on your Instagram page. But apparently, a website called The Hustle, interesting. The Hustle reported that last summer, Warner Music Group paid $85 million for this company. And they owned like esports and a bunch of other different things. But the biggest take for them was, do you remember that Instagram handle called Daquan?
Yeah.
Love Daquan.
Yeah.
So Daquan was like, I didn't even realize that. So first of all, Daquan was started in 2014 by a high school student and was part of this overall deal that Warner did last summer for $85 million. So this kid, because 2014, he was in high school. He's still a kid, if you ask me, like out here winning. So apparently you can make great money by just creating memes and being a meme factory.
I only learned about that when I told you I had that video that went viral and I was reached out to by companies who wanted to purchase the rights to it. And essentially like as they sell it, I get money. And so, that's when I realized how I was like, oh, so I'm not just making these memes to make myself laugh. I can actually get paid. Good to know.
You can get paid. All right. This one I thought was so crazy. I would never do it, but people do it. It is called trade line selling. Have you ever heard of this?
Never heard of this.
Oh my God. This is so bizarre. Okay. Let's say you have really great credit. You can add an authorized user to your credit card. You know, like we were talking about adding your kids and then helping them establish credit. This would be adding a total stranger as an authorized user on your credit card. Now, they don't actually use your credit card. You don't issue them the card. You add them as an authorized user to help them get their credit score up very quickly because you know how that works.
Yeah.
And maybe they need to bump their score up like a certain amount of points quickly because they're trying to buy a house or doing whatever. For whatever reason, they need a giant boost on their credit card and you have like an 800 credit score. You can add them and for a specified amount of time. And you can literally make thousands of dollars doing this if you have great credit.
That's crazy. Never heard of that.
It's so crazy. And I would never do it, but I didn't even know that was a thing people do. Virtual babysitting. This one really threw me. I'm no lie. People set up like cameras and they like, let's say it's like in the kids' room or in the playroom or wherever they are. Everyone was like working from home. And so like their kids are there, but they have to go do a Zoom or something. And they want their kids to be in the other room and leaving them alone. But they want someone to keep an eye on them. So they have like a cam set up and you sit at the computer and you watch their children through the computer, and they can hear you and you can talk to them and say, no, stop fighting with your brother or whatever, or sit down or whatever it is. You can help them pay attention, sit still if they're doing remote learning. So bizarre, but $19 an hour.
I have to see the paperwork that goes along with it because, look, when we grew up, people actually tried to do something similar like this and went to jail, but that was because they actually left the house. There has to obviously be paperwork that's like, this only works if there's actually an adult in the house. Look, I love the initiative. I think it's a great idea. And, for somebody who's, if they were a single parent at home and they wanted their kids to be in another room, it makes sense. But just from watching my friends' kids, or just even look, you told me that story one time about how Christian, when he was supposed to be on his virtual PE class, and the teacher had to tell you later that he was like cutting up, she couldn't get him to stop. What was he dancing around? What was he doing? He was doing
No. What had happened was he was in virtual, and they used to do like the artsy classes in the afternoon session. So the morning sessions were like math and reading and all of that. In the afternoon, it was always like art, music, PE. And I had to go run an errand. So I took him downstairs to his grandfather's. His grandfather's like in his 80s. So he's only like half paying attention. And I was like, you got this, because it's PE. I'm like, log in, do PE. When you finish with PE, log off. Come back home. How was PE? Great. Cool. A couple hours later, I get an email from his teacher saying that the whole time during PE, he was in the chat function writing boring.
See, this is why I'm like the bad auntie, because I would be cracking up knowing I couldn't help myself.
I mean, it was a whole thing. He was apparently being disrespectful. He didn't like it. I said, what happened? And he goes, it's just not the same as being like really at school. Like virtual isn't the same, and I didn't like it. And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't have to do that. So anyways, I made him write a letter to his teachers and blah, blah, blah. But yeah.
So I mean, I love the idea of virtual babysitting, but we'll see. I'd love to see some case studies.
Well, this one I actually have websites. If anyone is interested in virtual babysitting, there are 3 companies. One is called Virtual Babysitters Club. The other one is called VB. And the third is called Sitter City. So if you're interested, again, $16 to $19 an hour. And actually, Virtual Babysitters Club, the parents negotiate rates, so you might even be able to get a little bit more money. You're right. I don't know how that's going to work. Okay. Then, this one was crazy. Today's Show reported a company called heavywage.com. This company pays you if you reach your weight loss goal. So you tell them how much you weigh, you tell the site how much you want to lose and when you want to lose it by, and then you put up the money. So you put up however much money you want. So the highest is that they've had is $10,000, but the average user usually wins about, they said $1,331. So if you reach your goal, they pay you the money. And
pay you the money that you put up?
They match it.
Oh, okay.
So if you put up $500, then you get back $1,000 if you hit your goal. If not, you lose your money. So I'm like, well, that's a little fucked up, because that means that they're kind of their profitability is based on people not hitting their goals.
Yeah. When you win, you're winning the failures of others.
I'm like, what? That's kind of fucked up. But so they reported that 25 to 40% of the people who have used this site win. So clearly that means that upwards of 60 to 75% don't. So that's how they get their money back. But they completely say that they want everybody to win. They're not trying to like profit off of people's failures, and that a large chunk of their revenue also comes from sponsors and fees and like ads and stuff on the site. So, but that they do want people to win. I was like, this sounds cool, but maybe it's not, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, really all they're doing is taking the statistics from gym memberships. You know, what are the attrition, what do they call the attrition rate of gyms?
Right.
Look, I was paying for a gym for 14 years. 14 years.
Oh my God.
So
you
I'm
kept
just
the
saying,
gym membership for 14
because
years?
I had gotten such a great deal on it. I'm not going to lie. I might still be paying for it. I mean, I don't know.
How much was it?
So
was it like $10 a month?
No, it was like $40 a month, but I had access to all of their gyms nationwide because like I had joined the gym at one point, canceled my membership, and they wanted people back so bad. And I had, at that time, I had only belonged to the one location in New York. And they said, if you come back, we'll give it to you for this rate and you can go to all of the locations. So I was like, $40, I spend that on a meal. Done. So all I'm saying is they're taking that statistic of like how often people pay for gym membership. Because think about it, it's the same idea. I am paying to keep the lights on, the overhead, everything paid for in the gym. So people who are going to the gym actually use it. They're just applying it in a different. So hey, I'm not mad at it.
It's so true. Yeah, it works. I mean, you're right. They're using statistics to create a new business idea, and that's great. You, on the other hand, I'm going to talk to you about ways you could repurpose that $500 a year that you're paying to a gym that you've never even gone to in at least the last, what is it? What gym was this?
I have to imagine. So I know like during quarantine, I was getting like things that they had stopped charging. Oh, you know what? I think that gym went out of business actually.
I hate you so much.
So now I don't think I pay for it anymore.
I can't. You're like, wait a minute.
Maybe it did. I don't know. I gotta check. I gotta see what's happening.
Oh God, I can't. Okay. All right. Next up is a wedding speechwriter. A wedding speechwriter? What the fuck? Your wedding speech is supposed to be like, and I love you, and like.
No, I think they're talking about like, when you as a maid of honor are supposed to give a speech to like your sister or like her, for that, I think it's for that, right? Because I never know.
It's all of the speeches.
I think that's great because I never know what to say in those situations. I actually like this one. Yeah.
Well, so wedding speech writers can make average about $75 per speech, but one writer reported making $700 for a speech. It must have been a really good speech. $700 to write a wedding speech.
I love this. I actually might offer my services in this because I can't, for people I get it. It's like you want to be able to make a joke out of the funny things but if everyone was funny, we'd all be comedians. Most people are not as funny as they think they are. They have this idea in their head. But if you give it to someone like, this is a funny story, and that person can turn it into an actual funny story, it's worth it.
That makes more sense. I was thinking it felt like something really generic, but you're right. If you consult with the person who's going to deliver the speech and they give you the anecdotal stories, but then you structure it in a way that sounds really funny and engaging. That's true. I had to give a speech for our bestie, and I remember like being in the hotel room, like literally shaking because I was just like, I don't want to like fuck this up or whatever. And I definitely wrote it down. These people who can just go off the dome, I was like, like I was reading from the paper. But then we went to our other friend that got married in Vegas. Do you remember the groomsmen? I don't remember the speech. I just remember that it was really, really good. And everybody was laughing and like totally engaged. I can't remember the content.
I mean, I'm sure
of it,
I
but it
had a
was
great
really
time
good.
at the time, but it was Vegas. And so I'm not going to say I remember anything.
I know. The only thing about getting married in Vegas is like we got there, and the day we got there, we all were in the pool, and one of the groomsmen started coming around with like weed brownies. And then I swear to God, we were high or drunk for the entire wedding weekend. Like the whole weekend is a blur. There was like day parties, pool cabana parties, the wedding, the rehearsal, all of it. And it's a blur. It's a blur.
So it was
it's
a fun blur.
And I don't know how it's a blur because I roomed with my mom. So anyways, okay. And then the last one, which is like super interesting, is you're aware of ASMR.
Yeah.
You know what ASMR? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, ASMR is an acronym that stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, which means the little tingles in your brain and your spine that some people feel when they hear pleasurable sounds. So so these folks are making money on YouTube. So there's a YouTube page called Gentle Whispering. It has 21 million subscribers, and this website makes this YouTube page makes about $130,000 a year from people just listening to this woman gently whisper, which is crazy. That's like really on the high end. That's like one of the more successful ones. But Biz Insider said that a lot of other successful ASMR folks are making about $2,000 a month between their YouTubes, their Patreons, like things like that. I was blown away. Like, I just didn't realize, and I'm not giving anything away. I did kind of mention White Lotus, literally not giving anything away. I'm not a spoiler person. But do you recall the scene where the two young college girls are like, she's like, do you want to do ASMR? And she said it like, do you want to do drugs? Like she said it like that. And the girl is like, yeah, sure. And she like sat in front of her. You know, they're both sitting like crisscross applesauce, like in front of each other. And her eyes are closed. And she's just like, doing all these little like sounds and make it. And I'm like, this is like, if this is how kids are getting high these days, then yay. Yeah. But I watch Euphoria, so I know better. But like, yeah, like that's so crazy to me that this is a thing. It's a thing.
The number of people who, you know, I do my bagel series on my IG, and the number of people who say they watch just for that first bite. And the crunch and to hear me chew. They're like, they tell me like you should do ASMR videos because like they just really enjoy me biting and chewing.
Oh my God. I hate the sound of people biting and chewing, but
some people love it.
I love your bagel content, so I do listen, even though I guess when it's you, I feel like I turn that part of me. I like the crunchy of when you bite into the bagel, so I can get with that. Yeah, I just didn't know that was a thing, and that people really feel like a tingling sensation, or it's just like mentally like, yeah. And it's not just whispering. Like you said, there's other interesting natural sounds that people like get like some sort of sensation from.
It's all over TikTok. It's all over TikTok. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, apparently you can type in hashtag ASMR and like you can find a bunch of shit on TikTok and YouTube. So,
and some people are good and some people are bad. That's the thing. A lot of people want to do it, and then there's a lot of bad ones out there.
Just someone chewing gum. You're like, no. That's not what. This isn't giving me the feels. Yeah. But yep. So those were my top 6 really interesting / weird ways that people are out here making money.
I love it. I especially love the wedding writer one because like, it's just so simple. And, you know, if you're a great writer, I just think that's a good way because it doesn't have to just be weddings. People are always trying to come up with like, if they have to do a conference, they want to have like a speech, you know, a beginning liner to like get the crowd, you know, funny, you know, rolling. So I love it.
No, This was a good one. I feel like we'll do a part 2, like maybe like way down the road, because there definitely is more, and I know you like interesting and weird things. So.
All right. Well, speaking of interesting and weird things, of course, you know, the cool down's coming up, so stick around.
All right, Kiki, we have reached the end of the show, and I'm always excited to hear what sort of interesting, fun pop culture story you have for us. So what do you have this week?
Well, I was really into this. You know, I'm excited by how a lot of the celebrities in our lives and realizing sort of the long play a lot of them have on their like marketing strategy. And as an adult, being able to identify it and see what they're doing. Like I just started Paris Hilton, for example. She has a new show on Netflix called Cooking with Paris. And, you know, right before the show aired, this rumor out of nowhere comes that, you know, she just got engaged. And then out of nowhere, there's a rumor Paris Hilton is pregnant, and it went viral. It was everywhere. I even posted it on my page. I was like, what? We never, you know, this rumor came out of nowhere. And later that day, she went on her podcast and revealed this was not, you know, she woke up to all 5 of her phones, you know, with messages and how it wasn't true. Now, the great thing was, she talked about how it wasn't untrue on her podcast, but when she tweeted it, she didn't reveal that it wasn't true. She revealed she answered it and talked about it in her podcast. So already she was getting people to this podcast she was doing. Right before that, Cooking with Paris was also coming out. So I was like, this is not accidental, right? Like this pregnancy rumor, like she's been around long enough to know that this was going to make us her trend again, right? In my opinion, in my personal opinion.
Allegedly.
So I was already like impressed by that. So then of course I had to watch the show, and first episode, because each episode is 6 episodes, and each episode she's cooking with a different celebrity, and each one has a theme. And the first episode, who else? Kim Kardashian. Can't ask for a better season or series premiere than Paris and Kim, where it all began, right?
Where it all began.
And what I really appreciated about it was because, you know, Paris is now 40, which is amazing and incredible to believe that Paris Hilton is 40 years old. And her team, obviously, in my opinion, had to sit there and say, okay, Paris is known as a party girl. We have to now transition to her to this new part of her life where she's getting married. She wants to have kids. How do we do this? How do we get her old base who knows her as this party girl and like transition to her into the same place? And anyways, as I'm watching this show, you know, it's so obvious how they're doing it. Cause even like, she's already admitted that her vocal fry, her baby talk was all put on, right? So even in the show, it comes out, but then it's normal voice. And so I think even that was, to me, a way of like us getting used to her more normal voice, right? While still experiencing anyways, all of it was great. That to say, I'm also loving this long play that's going on with Rihanna, because there has been this long-standing sentiment in the world, in Hollywood, about how good Rihanna smells. Like there's videos about it. I think Jimmy Fallon talking about it, Lil Nas X talking about it, everyone in their mama talking about how good Rihanna smells. And it's like, okay, well, what perfume is she wearing? So like a bunch of TikToks came out. We discovered that the perfume that she was wearing is something called Love Don't Be Shy by Killian. A bunch of TikTokers trying it out. It costs like $300 a bottle almost, and it's described as florals, warm florals, orange blossom, vanilla, absolute, luscious marshmallow, which is an interesting fragrance. The fragrance description says this fragrance implores you at the opening with tender orange blossom, absolute. Juicy honeysuckle, which I like, and plush rose are softly caressed by the sweetness of luscious marshmallow sugar accord, satisfying the craving pang of new love. So That's what
Oh.
the perfume that Rihanna supposedly wears. And then, of course, a bunch of TikTokers were like, well, I can't get a $300 bottle of perfume. They said that they found this other perfume, Sweet Attic by Okja. That's only like maybe $40 a bottle that they say is similar. But anyways, all that to say is, of course, what do you think this means? Rihanna is coming out with a perfume, right?
Of course she is.
And granted, people were probably talking about how good Rihanna smells, and it just was like a soundbite, and it grew into this thing, and her team was like, here we go, right? Because if everyone keeps talking about how good she smells, of course they're going to buy her perfume. So I just thought that was really interesting, because now I, too, am going to buy this perfume, because I need to buy the one she has originally. I need to buy the one that she's coming out with. And so I really appreciate the just the long play that these strategies teams have with their celebrities. And just, you know, Kris Jenner is like the master of it, right? But like, the people who have probably just like watched and learned from her of like how to do things are coming up smart. And they're doing it with their own people, and it's amazing.
So smart. I mean, first of all, I will not comment on the Paris Hilton cooking show, because that's just gonna annoy me. all these people who have cooking shows that can't cook, or like the premise is that they're like completely like have no idea what they're doing in the kitchen, and that America is entertained by watching people who have no fucking clue what they're doing in the kitchen be in the kitchen, just drives me up the wall, because, you know, that's just the opposite of what I'm trying to do. So I'm just going to leave that one alone. However, Riri can do no wrong. I am obsessed with her. I have never been more invested in a celebrity couple than I am in her and ASAP. It is literally the it is the union that I have been waiting for, that I didn't even know I was waiting for. I am like, if this is how she, like, if this is the end of the road, if she dated every single, like, sexy man from, like, Greek shipping heirs to, like, Future and Drake and everybody in between, and then the end of the road is Rocky. I mean, like, this bitch, like, are you serious? Like, she's so, I love her so much. Everybody that's mad at her for not going to the studio can go to hell, listen to her old shit. Why? She doesn't need to make a record for you. Okay. She is a billionaire. She is a billionaire. Like,
official.
She does not need to go back into the studio for y'all. If she does, fine. If not, like, go buy some Fenty. There's not a thing she does that I don't support. I am a Rihanna stan. So just go ahead and whatever. And so then it comes out that, like, you're seeing all this shit that, like, she smells so good. Of course she smells so good. Duh, it's Rihanna. And I actually, for some reason in my mind, thought she already had a perfume because she owns this cosmetic line. It seems like anybody who, like, owns a cosmetic company already has a perfume. It's, like, such a natural progression. But yeah, like, I'm so here for it. I'm a perfume snob. I have to say I've owned several overpriced bottles of perfume in my life that I will save my little pennies for. But I've also had, like, you know, in my 20s, I wore, like, pink sugar. My very first perfume that I ever owned, God, I'm about to date myself. Do you remember Liz Claiborne in the triangle bottle that came in yellow, blue, and red? They were the primary colors. That was the very first bottle of perfume. And that was in, like, junior high school. And ever since then, I owned all the CK blah, blah, blahs. And, like, I love perfume. And so, yeah, throughout my life, I have probably spent quite a pretty penny on perfume. I'm like you. I'm ready to buy the one they say she smells like now. I'm ready to buy the one that she's coming out with. Like, I'm here for all of it. So praise Riri. I'm here for it. So basically,
Riri, come take our money. It's here. Yes, it's ready for you. Whenever you drop that scent, we will be on the wait list and ready to pick it up. So.
Here for it. Also, just go ahead and stay with Rocky and make pretty babies, and just, that's all I care about. That's it.
Or don't make pretty babies and just be a pretty couple. I'm never going to put pressure on you. You do you. You do whatever you want to do. If you want to sit on an island in Tahiti and just have at it, you can also do that.
Facts. Because can you imagine if that was your auntie and uncle?
Just saying, scientifically, they show that people without kids are happier. But that's just science.
I don't know. I think it's because they're both so attractive. I just want to see what that would look like.
Well, it's also because she's talked about kids a lot. She's talked about wanting kids a lot, and so she loves kids. So we know that she would love that. But just saying.
I just want to see that as a mashup. That's it.
She can come join the Auntie Brigade anytime. All right. Well, I want to get out of here because it is still summer and I want to start enjoying the day. We got our Palomas. We got, we're going to go sign up as consultants to be wedding writers or something, or make some ASMR videos, whatever we want to do. And we're going to smell good doing it. We will see you next week. And of course, keep following us or start following us if you aren't already on IG. You can find me at The Talk of Shame. You can find Vanessa at Vanessa Kantav. But otherwise, see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye. Moms vs. Aunts is brought to you by CafeMom. Our theme music is composed by Coney Island Music. We want to hear from you. To give us your comments, leave us a voicemail at 929-265-0277, and we might include them in the show. You can also reach us by email at momsvaunts@gmail.com. Remember to rate, review, and follow Moms vs. Aunts wherever you get your podcasts. And for more parenting stories, real talk, and entertainment news, go to cafemom.com.